Welcome to week 5 of our Baggage and Treasures Lent course. In the previous weeks, we've looked at our church buildings and asked what they communicate to those passing by. We have looked at what happens inside the building, the treasures within, and we've looked at the spiritual temperature of the church and asked if our fire has gone out. And last week, we looked at unity in the church. But what's next for us in this penultimate week? We are next, you and I. It's time to move on from looking at the treasures in the church, the building, what happens inside, to looking at the treasure that is you and the treasure that is me, the treasures that we find inside ourselves, the gifts that God has given each and every one of us, the love that He has poured out for us all. One of my go-to Bible verses is 1 Peter 3:15. Always be prepared to give an answer to everyone who asks you to give the reason for the hope that you have. Are you prepared to give an answer if you were asked that question? You may well have your own personal and precious stories to share of God's love and the treasures that He has given you. Perhaps you can share some of those in your groups today. They are, after all, the treasures that are within you. And if you reached into the treasure chest and pulled out a gift from God for you, what would it contain? Throughout this course, we have been looking at the treasure within, but also the baggage that might be affecting us as a church, the baggage that might be holding us back, the baggage that might be stifling the fire. But what about us as individuals? We have those treasures within, our joys, our successes, our gifts. But what about the baggage, our sorrows, times that we might see as failures? We all carry those wounds, and they will be affecting us in different ways today. So whilst we might want to celebrate the treasures, and it's right to do so, I know we might also have the baggage as well. You may not want to discuss these openly today in your groups, but after celebrating the treasures, the gifts that you have received, if anything comes to mind that might be considered as baggage, and if you want to talk them through in confidence, please do find someone who you can trust and confide in. Before I leave you to discuss this week's session, I want to take this opportunity to share one of the practices of Ignatian spirituality. The examen encourages us to look back at the day gone by and ask, where was God in my day? It encourages you to look back to where you found consolation in the day, where you felt closest to God. But it also asks you to look to where you felt farthest from Him. Perhaps this is something you might like to do today, to spend a few moments in silent contemplation, looking back and searching for the treasure within, the gifts that God has given you, and to take time to thank Him for those gifts, but also to spend time searching for the baggage that might be weighing us down and stopping the treasures from being realised in our lives. So as we listen to the music, let us meet with God to thank Him for the treasures, but also to ask Him to release us from the baggage.